All right, what's up, you guys? This is Devin from CenturyFX Studios, back with another video. And today we're going to be talking about how I made the FlashPoint Xplor 600, my baby the Solstice, overheat in the field. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, Devin, this is supposed to be one of your best products, one of the best photography products you've ever purchased. You've been making so many videos about it lately. You've been shooting models with it, so on and so forth. And you've been talking about how great it is. You've been showcasing it, telling us, oh my goodness, it's great, it's great. And it still is great. It still is amazing. Yes, I still do believe that. But like I said, I've been shooting photography for 12, maybe even 13 years now, depending on the month that you choose. And basically, I've done everything. I've been that photographer. I've been that guy that they say, you're the photographer, so you should know, that kind of thing. So they've always put me in situations, and I started with sports photography, so I know how it is mass producing or mass, shooting a lot of pictures. So when I was in this situation, when it, overheated, because I've done weddings, events, special events, birthday parties, and all this other stuff, I was doing a graduation. Now, a lot of people won't be put in this situation where they're in a graduation and they have to try their best to shoot every single person that comes across that stage. But my job is, once I get to the graduation and I scope the rehearsal and scope how I'm going to shoot it, my job is to stand on a corner right at the edge of the stage, and right when they take the diploma and they shake hands with the whoever it is, the principal, superintendent, whoever it is of the school, I need to get that shot of them smiling as they're going across. And when they say their names, it's like Billie Jean, David Gray, Marsha Ambrosius, whatever their name is, it's that's the pace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so within that 2-second span between when the names are called, that's the time they have to walk across the stage, because they want a fluid walk across the stage. So they want one person. As one person is going up, they're calling another person. One person is going up, but they're calling another person. That's the kind of, you know the process. Pretty much most of y'all probably have already graduated. And if you haven't, it's pretty much a fluent walk across the stage. It's not, you don't have a lot of time to actually go across the stage, and everybody's name wants to be heard. So they pause just enough time for a person's name to be heard. That's my cue to get a handshake, a smile, anything. Now, I view my photography tools and all of my photography equipment as tools to get a job done, which is photography, whether I want to be creative, artistic, do amazing art, or capture the moment, or do all of it at the same time. That's what my camera's for. That's what my flash is for, if I'm using a flash or anything like that. So the way I have it set up is I have the FlashPoint Xplor 600 sitting right beside me on my left. It's literally right beside, like this how much space between the camera tripod and the actual 600 itself. So I can actually touch it, because I couldn't have it up too high, because it would have blocked any parents that were there watching the show. Now, or the graduation. Sometimes it's a show depending on what graduation you go to. But nevertheless, I was there, and I had the FlashPoint at 1/32 of a power or 1/64 of a power, because they were only like 3 feet in front of me. That's how close I am to the stage. I'm right beside the flag post, right on the stage. Oh, I was on top of the stage. I was under the stage a little bit. I was maybe 3 feet below the stage and shooting up at them, which I did not want to do. I wanted to stand on something, but they said I was blocking too many people, and they were comfortable with the angle that I was getting, so I had to confer that with all the people at the school. But nevertheless, I was there doing that, getting those frames. There had to have been about 215, 220 students roughly, and this was the biggest graduating class they had. They hired me out to do this job. I got there. I want to say I was shooting the FlashPoint Xplor. It was on a Pocket Wizard. I was shooting the camera, the Nikon D610, the full frame, medium-sized JPEGs. You might be saying, Devin, you're shooting JPEGs. Oh my goodness. Well, when you're in a situation where you have to get the shot, and you have to have them post-produced and ready to go pretty much straight out of camera, and you don't have time to edit, that's what I had to do. So shooting JPEGs, medium size, I think they were like 12 megapixels or whatever, but it's a 24 megapixel full frame camera. Now, with that being said, it does not have to buffer. If I was shooting RAWs and I was shooting as fast as they were calling off names, bang, bang, and different graduations are different speed depending on how many people. But since they hadn't had this many people graduate from the school, this large amount of people, they were saying it faster than they usually say it. And he was getting the names off right, and he was saying them correctly, but I have to shoot. Now, if I was just shooting with the camera and not using a flash or anything like that, it would be perfectly fine. But usually the flash is the first thing to die when you're putting in such a stressful situation. Like I said, it was about 210, 215, 220 students, and I'm trying to get that moment. So sometimes they get up there and they're not looking at me. There's so much excitement and adulation. Like I was telling the superintendent principal guy that was shaking everybody's hands, there's so much enthusiasm or just excitement. Mom is there, somebody's clapping here, the whole student body's watching, and there's a gym full of people. I'm talking full of people. They didn't have enough people, room in the gym for the people, for the parents and stuff like that. People were standing up, people were sitting all of them were sitting in the handicap section behind. Like there was like 20 times more parents than there were students graduate. So you had to understand, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not that much. It had to have been like 3, 4, 5 times as many people that were there to see the graduates than there were graduates in the seats. So when you have to think about all of that, and the students walking across the stage, they're not looking at the little X that we put down there on the stage to stop and take a picture. Some of them will. Some of them can calm down enough for the 3 seconds that I have to take the picture, but nevertheless, not everybody does. At the end of the day, they only spend about 3 to 6 seconds walking across that entire stage, shaking all their hands. By the time they get to my, getting through my frame, especially because I don't shoot them the way. They got 2 other people they got to shake, but the person I'm trying to get is the principal, superintendent, that guy in the center, and that's what the X is. So when they get across the stage, I'm trying to get every single one of them. And I believe, as a photographer, especially if I'm shooting for an organization or school, that everybody has the chance to get a good picture. Now, I might not get to it, but I shoot with that mentality. I don't shoot with, oh, this looks like a nice one, let me get this. Oh, this looks like this is about to be a nice one. I don't think like that. I think like, okay, if everybody's coming across that stage and everybody wants to buy a print or buy a digital or whatever, however it's being sold, everybody has a chance for a good shot. And even if the flash doesn't cooperate with me, I'm going to still shoot at natural light, and it might be underexposed, but at least it's a moment that they can probably go back home, because it's not a perfect system. Nobody in the world, even if you're a perfect photographer, is going to be able to fight if your flash can't fire at the moment in time that you're not going to get another chance, really, if you can't recycle fast enough. That's why I use the FlashPoint Xplor 600. So with all that being said, with there being 215, 20 kids going across stage, I shot about 615 images. That means when people are coming across the stage, on average, I got them about 2.5 times, 2.5 frames. I sacrifice on average 2.5 frames per student on that moment with their handshake and everything like that. I got through 600 and change frames. I wasn't really keeping it in my mind, about 605 frames before the FlashPoint Xplor 600 started to overheat and the recycle times got longer and longer. That 6-second interval of time where they walk across the stage became it became nerve-wracking for me because the FlashPoint wasn't flashing, and it was right beside me, but I had just enough time to go over there and look at it, and it was a full battery, so the battery didn't go down. I'm like, what in the world is wrong with this thing? Why is it not flashing? Well, I looked over in the corner. I pushed all the little cord. I have a little sync cord for my pocket was out of the way, and I noticed it had a little steam marks on it. So it was overheated. And I can't blame the FlashPoint Xplor 600 for overheating. Why? Because the Nikon D610, the camera that I was shooting with, has 6 frames a second. If I'm shooting JPEGs, I'm not shooting RAW. I'm shooting JPEGs. At 6 frames a second, that means there's going to be little to no buffer time. At 12 megapixels, that camera eats 12 megapixels for lunch. It's no problem for that D610 to spit out, 200, 300 JPEGs without having a buffer probably. That's how much memory it processes at one time, especially at that small size format for the JPEG. So you have to think, out of all the pictures I took that day, I did the math, and don't tell me if I'm wrong or not. Only 5 images came out completely dark because the flash couldn't recycle in time. 5 images out of 615 images is right around 1%. 1%, maybe 2%. So everybody else do the math for me because I'm not a math genius. But tell me, I'm just doing off the side of my head. But that's like minimal amount. Like if somebody were to graduate with that hit rate, I would say that they were top of the class as far as graduations were concerned. But I'm telling you, 600 at a power of 1/64 or 1/32, depending on which image I was taking. Right around that power level, 600 images at least got off with the same exposure each time. Every time I clicked, even if it was like sports, like 4 frames a second, because you're not gonna have the whole 6 frames a second to get an image off. The moment doesn't last that long. It's usually like at the most you might get 3 frames a second, and then another sputtered kind of burst, another 2 frames a second. If they realize, oh, I missed the photographer, I'll sit there and wait, and I'll get another 2 frames a second. Just because, think about it. You might be saying, well, Devin, you spraying and praying. You told us not to spray and pray. You told us not to do this, that, and the other. Guys, think about it. If you're doing a graduation and they're coming across the stage within a 6-second frame of time, some people are more nervous. Some people walk faster because they're more nervous. Some people sprint. Some people want to do a little dance on the stage. There's no telling what kind of moment is going to happen, especially when somebody's coming right after them, and everybody deserves that shot. So you have no choice but to spray and pray. Now, they're going to stop and pose for you if they're not too excited. But you have to think about the tassel running across their face. It was quite a few times where the tassel ran across their face because they were so nervous or something like that, or they grab hold of the diploma and all the shaking. The tassel is one of the worst parts of taking graduation pictures going across the stage while it's happening. So you have to think about it. I got to go to try to make sure that tassel goes across, and that flash gotta be, the sauce has got the FlashPoint 600 has to be on point. Bang, 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 and it was doing an amazing job, guys. I cannot say how amazing it was to work with it, and of course it works fine now. I hadn't tried it since the other day, but let me see how much power it has left on it. And yes, it has a full. I haven't charged it or anything. It has a full power, and that's pretty much what she was doing the whole time. And sometimes the beep didn't even come fast enough, but I knew it recycled. It was doing that the entire time, and that was the rate of how much, just in case somebody may have tripped going across the stage or something like that, which didn't happen. But like, it was that fast. It didn't have a lot of time to recycle, and I don't know what was going on in the fan. I thought it came on automatically. I think that's what Tony said when he reviewed it in his video. But nevertheless, that was a fun time to push the FlashPoint Xplor to its limits. I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know it was going to do that. And yes, I did have a frosty plate, the little frosty plate it comes with. That was the modifier I was using. It wasn't eating that much light. It was putting out a healthy amount of light in reference to what it was shooting through. So I didn't have much problem actually shooting it and getting all that power out to the masses. But again, guys, thanks for watching. I love this flash. Like, it was only at the last 5-6 students. Like, there was only so much that it couldn't do. There was no use in me even going back and getting another flash. I didn't have to replace the battery. I didn't have to replace anything. Like the Pocket Wizard was on point. It didn't run out of battery because it's not putting out as much power as that FlashPoint 600. But nevertheless, like I said, guys, it's an awesome piece of equipment. And even though I pushed it to its limits this time, not many people are going to be stuck in that situation. Unless you're doing like high speed sync at 1/1 for like 3 hours, because that span of people walking across the stage at that graduation, probably 2 hours of non-stop 1/64 powered bursts from, or 1/32 powered bursts from this FlashPoint Explorer. It not only has a full battery still. Only thing happened was it overheated just a little bit. And that gym was pretty hot, to the FlashPoint's credit. They were trying to keep everybody, because I told you it was a lot of people in that gym. So it was already hot in the gym to begin with. But like I said, I'm rambling on too much, guys. I just love this product. I'm done with CenturyFX Studios. Thanks for watching.